Welcome to the Checkered Shorts Podcast, a podcast of three fraternity brothers reconnected by their love of IndyCar. Join us for grid-rival IndyCar fantasy talk, predictions for upcoming races, and reactions to race day results and all things IndyCar. Let's go racing! Hello, welcome back to Checkered Shorts, special edition, episode number 19, but also Mother's Day post-race reaction. Sancio in 3. Obviously, we got two people that are going to share a little bit about their experience going. But let's first start off with the tradition we started just a few episodes ago with naming our episode for a driver that corresponds with the episode number. So episode 19, here we got, Brian, Professor Dinwiddie.
I don't know if this tradition's working out very well because 19 was a really, really tough one. The only name I found that I recognized was Alex Lloyd, and most people probably have no clue who that guy was. He raced in like the late 20 teens, like I think 2019. He was number 19 for Dale Coyne. Sebastian Bourdais at one point drove the 19. But again, second episode in a row, no 500 winners have ever come through with the number 19. But one time, a man sat on the pole of the Indianapolis 500. His name was Caleb Bragg, and that was in the third running of the Indianapolis 500 in 1913. So congratulations, Caleb Bragg, 1913 pole winner and number 19.
I would not have. Caleb. Like Caleb seems like a newer name, like starting in the 90s. You know what I mean?
Everything comes back around, I guess.
That's kind of cool. Okay.
Maybe one day we'll reflect back and there'll be one of these obscure guys and there'll be someone watching our show that's connected and they'll share it with them. Hey, they're talking about Pops over there.
Yeah.
And then we'll get a little communication. Oh, yeah, I'm John Bragg. Caleb, that's my grandfather. We're all so proud of him. Setting up the 500.
There we go. Know nothing about him other than he was a 1913 pole winner. So.
Nice job, historian. I like that. That's a good story. Good job.
Today is also Mother's Day, so obviously the three of us would not be here without some glorious women. This weekend I celebrated my mom's 70th birthday with a big family camping trip. It was a blast, wonderful weather. Kind of impacted my ability to watch the race, but, you know, your mom only turns 70 once. And my mom's a special lady. She was not the kind of mom – I mean, she was the kind of mom that would – fix you a PB&J and have hot chocolate when you came in from sledding and sent out to play. But she was also the mom that would be out there playing with us. So my dad, I remember, built a baseball mound for my older brother, but my mom got the catcher's gear on and caught him all the time. You know, she was my Cub Scout leader. If we went sledding, she was sledding. So cool. Mom was a lot of fun. And so shout out to my mom, Cindy Nance. Thank you very much for being a wonderful mother.
Yeah, same. My got to take the girls up this morning to spend some time with my mom, and you know, we tried to say, "Mom, let's go out to eat," and you know, being my mom, she was like, "Nope, I'm gonna fix a late lunch for you." So we had fried chicken and all the fixings. So thanks, Mom. That's all she's always been. You know, as you grow up, you realize how much your mom did for you, and I didn't realize it at the time, but you know, all those times that she'd pick me up from school and take me to the golf course and sit in her car and read for 3 or 4 hours while I was out there hammering around on the golf course, you know, not even thinking about the sacrifices that she was making. And, you know, she was the one. My dad worked nights most of my childhood. So she was the one that, you know, was doing all that, hauling us around, and I really appreciate her and what she's done for me and my girls as well. And I'll shout out too to my wife. My wife, Angie, is an incredible mother. She didn't go with us today because she and her mother are having a little getaway down in Brown County, Indiana, for a couple days. So thank you, Angie, for the great mother that you are to our children, and appreciate you. And I know, Keith, you want to go back now and talk about your wonderful wife and the great mother she is. So.
Well, I'll say this about my wife, Marcy. As far as being a mother, the best thing she did was put up with my BS sometimes, and you know, was always willing to just hold the family together. She's the glue for sure. A lot of fun, a lot of smiles, a lot of hugs. And if you've ever been around my wife, Marcy, she is a hugging machine. So lots of hugs from her. I mean, that means the world to a kid for sure.
Well, my mom, Deb, and my wife, Jennifer, are both saints. We just kind of lounged around with Jennifer this morning and then went to go out to my mom's. But I was like, honey, what do you want to do? Like, we'll go out to eat. We'll go out for breakfast, brunch. You want me to make you something? And she was kind of indecisive. So she wanted to we ordered Zaxby's and we all ate on the back patio. That's what she wanted to do. It was a nice little day. I was like, this is perfect. Went out to my parents, hung out with them for a little while, and then just went to we go to Sunday dinner every Sunday with Jennifer's side of the family, and there's 15, 20 of us on a good day. But it was my in-law's 60th wedding anniversary.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So yeah, pretty crazy. So we got it's a hard group to get a whole bunch to get a photo. So I tasked Jennifer with all of that. So it was a good Mother's Day and all in all. My mom is, they're both, my mom and my wife Jennifer are both saints. So love them to death. Couldn't bear without them. So awesome. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we got some time to jump right into some things. After one more week's worth of action, we got some updated power rankings. I know this time there were certainly 2 through, this is kind of where it's at. If you look at the points, right, 2 through 5 or 6, we had them all in different orders, and they're all separated by just a handful of points. So there's really not much evidence to argue other than personal preference, I think. But Brian, where are we at with our rankings?
Yeah. Not a whole lot of shifting this week, but I'll kind of start where we have in the past and start from the bottom. Coming in at number 10 this week. Let me get to where I am here. Number 10, I think all 3 of us agreed that we're going to leave Alexander Rossi just hanging on to that top 10. And I think he's probably really close to being out. I think he's in there by the skin of his teeth. One guy that we haven't had in there, I don't believe all season, jumped up into number 9, and that's Rinus VeeKay after the last 2 weeks that he's had. And actually, I knew it, but I'd forgotten it. That's his 3rd top 10 in 5 races this season. So 3 top 10s in a Dale Coyne car. Like, I don't know the last time Dale had 3 top 10s in a season, much less than a 5 race span. So
I would not have
Rinus for what he's been doing.
I knew 2. I would not have known the 3rd. I would not have remembered the 3rd.
Or first race of the year, he finished in the top 10. So
okay.
At number 8, this guy just keeps, boy, we could say so much, and we do say a lot about Colton Herta, but man, he's so good on the track. So good on the track. It's just anything that can happen to Colton does. And sometimes guys just karma has it out for him. And he got clipped at the beginning of the race, made a great move to get himself to pit road, and then in a bit, like he's my nominee this week for terrible pit stop. So he comes in at number 8. The Iceman, Scott Dixon, is in there at 7. He just continues what a move this week, going from 16th to finish 5th. How he got a top 5 out of that. Like, it wasn't strategy. Like, he just drove his way there.
Yeah.
Just smooth all day long. It wasn't never a big jump. He just kept picking off guys as the race went on. And that's kind of how the season's been for him.
He knew.
Number 6. Go ahead.
He knew it was going to be a long day, I think. He thought he had a good car. In quals, he's like, it's just something's not quite right, but it feels really fast. So I think he knew it was going to be a long day and just grinded it out. Good 5 for Scott for sure.
Yeah. All right. So Keith, you talked about 2 through 6, and that's where we had some disagreements. When we average them all out, the guy who ends up in 6th was hard to believe that he's there, but I think 2 of us had him at number 5 and the other had him at number 6, and that's Christian Lundgaard.
Yeah.
This is a guy that a week ago was second in the points, and like he's sitting 6th on our list. I think maybe for me at least, it's too early. I just need to see more, and I need to see more from an oval standpoint to know if he's really the driver that he looks like he possibly is. So he comes in at number 6. I'm struggling with this one. I'll be honest. Number 5, I got Kyle Kirk. We've got Kyle Kirkwood. I had Kirkwood much higher on my list.
No.
Here's what I'm going to say. We've had 5 races this year. 4 of them have been won by Alex Palou. The only other winner is Kyle Kirkwood, and he's second in points. But we've got him at 5th. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, no, it's a good argument. I'll glance at the actual rankings. Sometimes it's just how I feel, and Kyle's sucked it up here yesterday and the race before, so that's just where I put him.
Okay, all right, 21st is right, but okay, he sucked it up. Number 4. This was the guy that at the beginning of the season I didn't have him in my top 10. Was Will Power, and it took me a while to get him there. But he's consistently now. He's starting to qualify better, and he's putting in top 5s every week. And he came in on the podium this week, so he jumps up to number 4 for us. Number 3, Mr. Award. Pato. He's definitely a talented driver, and yesterday, like I thought in that restart, Keith, I thought he was going to make the move that Graham made at the beginning, and take the lead. But maybe he's maturing, because that would have been a risky move, and he didn't take that shot that he could have taken. It would have been a tough one. But any thoughts there about Pato and his performance in the last couple of weeks?
Let's have it. Go ahead.
For me, I mean, it's equal parts frustrating and appreciation, because he's like Steady Eddie, right? Even on bad weekends, he still performs and somehow moves up, makes his way through the field, and gets the points necessary to stay in the hunt. And I felt like the big, the pass that happened essentially with the cruise on the final pit allowed him to get beyond Scott McLaughlin, which team-wise too, they're super steady. They haven't done anything flashy yet. They haven't. Obviously, he finished second at Thermal, and the other races have been very average finishes, and second again this weekend. So to me, I'm pleased, but a little frustrated too, because you're like, when are we gonna, crack through the ceiling? But the ceiling is Palou, and the ceiling's way higher than everyone else right now.
It's true. Very, very, very
good. I think Pato's impressing me more and more each week. I think I probably with some other people too. You're expecting him to do better because he's the name of the series, right? I think he has a lot of weight on his shoulders, and I probably was like, oh crap, he's 8th. He's not doing that great, but he's still performing. Imagine if Palou's not running away with it. Pato's having a pretty damn good season. For all the situations he'd have 2 out of 5 first place finishes. Yeah. Correct.
And he'd clearly be the leader of points at that point, I think, with 2 first place finishes.
So I took yesterday from watching the podium ceremony, he was like, I don't want to be here. Like, I'm second. Like, I'm here. It's cool to be second. But you could see that, like, that little grimace, like, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So to me now, the racing begins. This is obviously it's the biggest race of the series of the year, but now everybody kicks it into a different gear. So let's see what Pato can do.
And speaking of that, coming up with what's coming next on the schedule, our top 2 guys, are going to be strong contenders there. And that's number 2. We continue to put Scott McLaughlin in number 2. I was kind of surprised that our rankings came out that way. He was solid yesterday, but nothing spectacular. But again, there's another top 5 that Scott put in place. And so he falls into our number 2 spot. And then once again, I don't even know if 1 is the right place for him. Like, I don't know what number is better than 1, but my goodness, Alex Palou. It's almost seemed like he was playing with Graham Rahal yesterday. Following him for the first half of the race. And then all of a sudden he decided he wanted to take off, and he got around Graham. And then the next thing you know, he's got an 8-second lead. And then he did it again after the restart. That guy there's something special about this guy, and we have to appreciate that. So he's number one, and he'll be there. It's going to be awful hard to knock him off that perch this year.
Yeah. All the things you said, I think it'd be interesting to see. I mean, I'm not a what if guy, but what if, there was some, like, who would be at the top? Where would they be at the top? There would be a lot more discussion. Could be a lot more discussion if it wasn't for Pelot.
You talk about how tight 2 through 6 are. That's what 1 through 5 would look like coming into this part of the season.
Yeah.
That would be ridiculous if you were talking about all these guys fighting for the the top of the field within 10 points.
What did I send you? Didn't I send you something yesterday? The point standings are ridiculous right now. I was just looking it up. I think 27 points from 2 through 8 or 2 through 9 right now.
I'm going to tell you. Standings.
97.
Yeah. Kyle's a point ahead of Lundgaard.
Yeah, 26 points separate 2nd through 8th in the points. That's 5 spots in a race. I mean, that's Kirkwood to Rosenquist. By the way, speaking of Rosenquist, he's not in our top 10 for the first time this year. And again, Newgarden's not there either. Though that's probably 11, 12 right now. But interesting that, Rosie fell out of our list because he's been as high as number 5 on our list.
I think that's VK taking his spot.
Yeah.
Maybe a Rossi, but VK wasn't probably in our top 12 there for the first couple of races. Rosenquist, I think, is fine. He's doing Rosenquist things, just middle of the pack, probably fell down there at Barber. I don't remember where he finished yesterday.
13th, I think.
13th. So, yeah, I mean, two middle of the pack rows, you kind of forget about.
Well, he ran up under the back wheel of one of the McLaren drivers and spun out into the grass.
Yeah, he did. That's right.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I think, I mean, good top 10. Good argument.
Okay. So one thing that we haven't been able to do yet this year is to share a little bit of a live, in-person kind of synopsis of our day at the track. And both of you guys had that opportunity on Saturday. So give us a little bit of build up to the race and just kind of a short synopsis of what you enjoyed most of the day.
Yeah, I mean, I can go first, Pat, if you know. So I've got a 14-year-old daughter who loves IndyCar, and so started talking on Friday evening and said, "What time you want to go to the track tomorrow?" I know the IndyCar race wasn't until 4:45, but the great thing about IndyCar is that all weekend there are cars on the track, and so yesterday there was USF Pro 2000, USF 2000. And NXT raced. Pro 2000 actually ran 2 races yesterday. So it started at 9:30 yesterday morning. And she said, "I'll be up at 9 o'clock and we can get to the track and watch races." And being a typical teenage girl or teenager, it was more like 10 o'clock when she rolled out of bed. But we got we got down there about 11 o'clock, maybe a little bit after 11. My beautiful wife dropped us off right at the Turn 4 gate, and we walked in and found our seats up in the Northwest Vista and just made that our home for the day and watched, we watched the IndyCar final warm up. We watched the NXT race and like I said, the pro and everything else. And just had a beautiful day. Watched the crowd come and go, throughout the day and really pick up there towards the end. I know that we were trying to save some spots for the Kelly clan when they came in. But yeah, just an absolute gorgeous day. Like very little breeze. It actually got hot at one point in the afternoon, but just couldn't ask for a better experience. And it's good to see people you see Pat and I with our Pacer stuff on. There were we're in Indianapolis, so there were Pacer pacer gear everywhere. I saw a lot of IndyCar gear. I probably saw more checkered shorts than I've ever seen at a race before. So maybe our listeners are kicking in and getting on Amazon and grabbing some of those shorts. So, but yeah, it was just an overall really good day. And then had neighbors come join and like I said, the Kelly clan. So by the time we were done, we had a good crew sitting there watching the race together.
Yeah, mine was landscaping season's hot and heavy. So I had to work first half of the day. Had to go pick up some flowers for Mother's Day stuff, and then I actually mowed the grass. But people are texting me like, "Are you here yet? Are you there? Like, where are you?" I'm like, "Man, I'm working. No, I'm mowing the grass. Leaving my house at 3:30." So Pops went, took my dad, wife, 2 daughters, and then Gabby, the oldest daughter, brought a friend, first timer. So Gabby and Andy were, yes, who enjoyed it. Gabby and Andy they're going to be sophomores here. They're asking all the right questions, all the good stuff of like, why is it this? Why is it? So, which was nice. But no, it was awesome. We left our house a little bit late. I said 3:30. We were a few minutes late. Not my fault. Got to the parking spot on turn 4, and we literally were walking up the stairs as at the beginning of the national anthem. So perfect timing. So, but no, good race, great crowd, great day. It turned out, yeah. I mean, the race was good. I think we all kind of saw it coming, but better than what I was expecting for sure.
I think you talked about the great crowd, Pat. I think it's a good point to make to people, if you're watching on TV and if you're not there in person for the NEGP on TV, that can look like it's pretty empty.
Sure, yeah.
But that is a really good crowd, and if you put that number of people on any other race course, you would think it's packed. I don't know what the number was. I would 50, 60,000, but when you put 50, 60,000 in a place that holds 500,000, it doesn't look like there's a lot of people there. But especially in those hotbed places like where we were sitting and some of those big turns and some of the hills and that sit around the rest of the road course, they were packed.
Well, and I think speaking of the fans and actually the racing was good, but the fans knew what was going on.
Yeah.
They knew, when Graham passed Pillow, oh my God, they knew what was going on. So it's not, I mean, obviously there's just casual fans there to hang out, drink beers or whatever, but everybody was there for the race.
Yeah.
I thought was important.
Keith, you've been talking about how, not that Pillow needs to be a villain, but kind of that idea. He kind of seemed that way to the crowd yesterday. When Graham asked him originally, there was a huge roar. Both of those first 2 pit sequences when Graham came out, people were cheering for Graham. And believe me, my experience is people aren't big Graham Rahal fans, so it was more, hey, he's going to knock off Pillow. So the heel was in.
Well, it's funny because it's fun to cheer for an underdog, right? But right now you got a field of underdogs -1. So everyone's cheering for an underdog, which is a lot of fun. So, and then you can get behind underdogs, and so people are going to get behind the people that are pushing the front, and especially anyone that's got the potential to knock him off the podium. I think some people are going to you're going to hear some roars in the crowd just to see a little bit of change in the guard.
Yeah.
The opposite of a bandwagon.
Yeah. Overall, like Pat said, good race. It was really racy up front, even just watching Pillow kind of stalk Rahal for all those laps. And then, we saw a lot of action back in the pack, whether it was in, turn 1 or turn 7 or, throughout the track. They were really, really moving. And some spin outs. We had some guys go off track. We had some contact. We had, all kinds of things going on throughout the race. So it was an entertaining one. I mean, we had some pit debacles as well, and I know we'll get to that, but Overall, it was better than I was expecting, because listening to the drivers coming in with the 2-tire requirement, 2 sets on each of the red and the black tires, I know they were expecting it to be a lot more of a boring race, and I didn't get that. I thought it was fun. They did mix up strategies. Pelot saved his sticker reds to the end, where like Ray Hall had gone on them early, so there was a little bit of mix up there, and I think that worked out well.
And we had a yellow. We had
a yellow flag.
Yeah.
Kind of two if you count Newgarden's thing at the beginning.
Yeah. So. I saw like on the replay when I watched it last night, like they were, they were drawing on the fans, and 2 guys like high-fived you. Both had beer in their hand, by the way. 2 guys like high-fived each other when the yellow came, and then like 5 seconds later they hugged because of the yellow. It was pretty funny.
You talk about knowledgeable fans, like even in the section we were, when the yellow came out, like the whole section cheered because they get it. Like, well, that's what they want to see, is a yellow flag.
Pack them back up. And
yeah, it's cool. And again, the yellow we want to see. Nothing happened. Nobody wrecked. Just Malukas just got, I think, stuck in the wet part of the track or something. Just couldn't mobilize. So, good day, good race. Let's see what like I said, here comes the good racing now.
Yeah, so we obviously, in every post-race episode, we have our Kelly Landscaping Shit Pit of the Week. And this week, I listed at least 3 possible candidates. You guys can add on there if you'd like. But Christian Lundgaard and the McLaren team, they had a little bit of a mishap in their pit. Graham Rahal, I think he had a pit that really cost him a notable finish, or more notable than what he finished. And then always on the list, we were going to put him on the Mount Rushmore of shit pits, Colton Herta, on, once again, the list for shit pit of the week. So Pat, take it away.
Yeah, a couple questions, Denway, if you can help. Why did Graham jack his car back up? I don't remember, because he was done and then they had to jack it back up.
They didn't get the tire on, so they had to reset that and get him back out. So it cost him, I don't know, 2 or 3 seconds there to jack it back up and get it back down again. So.
But then Herta didn't finish the race anyway, right?
He didn't end up finishing the race, no. That one was an odd one, because that was right at the beginning of the race, and on that first lap when he got clipped and had some front wing damage, and did amazing job to swing it into pit road. And as soon as that happened, they're going 60 miles an hour down that front. Like they had time to come up with a plan, and that they got the front wing assembly ready, the new nose cone, and they put it on, and then that could have kept him on the lead lap. But then after they did that, they got ready to release him, and like, oh, hold on, let's put some fuel in. And nobody thought to put tires on while they were putting fuel in, so they got it fueled up, and then they decided, oh, while we're here, let's go ahead and put tires on, and then that put him a lap down. I think a lot of Rob Edwards, he's really well known as a crew chief and as a team leader, but my goodness, this stuff just keeps happening. You've got to have a plan and be thinking about things like this.
Yeah. You think that's like the opposite of having a strategy. It's like running by in the seat of pants, and it's like watching me leave for work in the morning. I go to the car and drive. Do I have my sunglasses? Go get your sunglasses. Go back out to the car. Oh no, man, I forgot my cup of coffee. Go back in and get your cup of coffee. It's like, give me a break. Yeah. There's someone on the headset making these decisions, right? Or a group of people saying, we come into pit, let's take care of this problem while we're here.
Right.
I'm going to give, there it is. I'm going to do it. Kelly Landscaping Shit Pit Award. It goes to Graham.
All right.
Yeah, I'm going to give it to Graham. He was running in good position, probably lost the podium because of it. Let's see if I don't give it to Colton, what might happen. A lot of things. It's a similar situation in landscaping sometimes, where you're dealt with a shitty hand, and that's could be a bad analogy, but it does happen sometimes, and wrong calls. But they're on a whim. They're making those calls at the last second. So let's see what let's see what happens. Maybe good luck will happen to Herta. But no, Graham.
It kept him off the podium.
Bigger impact.
Yeah, he had a good car. It would have been cool to see. I don't think he would have been able to compete with Below, but it would have been a little bit more interesting to see. And I think it obviously affected Herta's day, but I think the end result for me is the reason why Graham would get it today.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I'm good with that.
Stamp it. Yeah.
Who were you impressed with this weekend? Give me a driver or two.
Well, we talked about it before the Dixon, but I mean that's not anything crazy. Just like that's not a brain buster. I forget where he started exactly, but he finished fifth. But he started
16th, I think. Yeah.
So just drove. I mean, it's probably a pretty easy Sunday drive for him, I would think. Like, just keep gaining, do the right thing, stay out of trouble. Just a very Scott Dixon day.
What about Keith? What about you? Who impressed you?
Well, I say this had to be a popular one to choose, but VK just showing up again and running as well as he's had through the season, which was a surprise on its own. So to see it happen consistently, you're like, oh, it draws attention. You think there's something special happening there with his tenacity and his ability to run. And then, as a team, we talk about they have less resources, but something's working. I mean, it's the driver. Yeah. Sure, he's at the wheel, but something's working on that team to put their car in position to go out and qualify well, practice well, and then he goes out and runs traffic as well as anybody.
Yeah, well, especially compared to what his teammates doing, because Jacob Abel is at the back of the pack in every session. So, I'm going to throw RLL as a team in there.
Yeah.
To have, they're not a team. When you talk about resources, there's another team that has struggled, in the series. But boy, to put all three guys in the top five and starting spots, and then they stayed in there. They hung in there. I think Devlin had an issue installed it on pit road or something like that. But overall, I thought they ran well, and obviously Graham, other than the pit stop, had a really, really strong race. So
I heard the booster on the pedal came loose, and that's why he stalled the car. He couldn't reach the pedal.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so
the old booster on the pedal. Hate when that happens. But Louis Foster finished 11th. I mean, holy smokes!
Yeah,
I didn't.
The TV broadcast talked about the fact that he is still struggling to understand how to manage tires at this level.
Sure.
That his tires are wearing out, and they've done that in about every race. So, but I thought he raced it really well.
I didn't see just until now that Marcus Armstrong finished 7th.
Mm-hmm.
Would not have guessed that. So a good finish. I think those. I mean, everybody else kind of makes sense to where they finished. But
who disappointed you this week?
Man.
Well, Newgarden's been a disappointment.
Yeah, I mean that's
whole year.
That's kind of how. Right. There's nobody like crazy.
I mean, Newgarden raced back up, but raced back up to 13th or 12th. Like, come on, Joseph's so much better than that.
Rossi was 14th. You got to do better, man.
I'm going to go Eric.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. We talked about that yesterday.
Pat and I talked about this. That this is year 3 or 2? Is this 3 or 2 with just 2, right? With Andretti, but this could be it. Boy, things just aren't going well for Marcus in that car, and we're talking about a guy who won. He won the Indianapolis 500 3 years ago, but just really seems to be a struggle bus.
And it seems, I mean, it's kind of, it probably tells you why Chip didn't re-sign him with Ganassi when the opportunity came. He's a fine driver, but you got to be a top 10.
Yeah.
A top 10 at pretty much every weekend, I think. Especially, I mean, that team's good enough to get you top 10 results.
Yeah, so if Pat seems just a little bit distracted today, you can see the action taking place in the reflection of.
There's a fight going on right now.
Oh, nice.
Pushing and shoving, yeah.
Getting heated at the Pacers Cavs game. This game 4 is going to mean a lot to the Pacers for sure. you don't want to spoil that 2-0 start on the road by giving up 2, because this game is pivotal. You win this one, and you're definitely in the driver's seat.
That's a big shove.
That's right.
Yeah, no, it's I'm excited now. Like I've said, this is my third time saying it. Now the racing begins. This is not an Alex Palou show at the 500. I don't think. It is the hardest race to predict. He has arguably, I mean, he was the fastest in the practice, but that doesn't mean, to me, that doesn't mean anything when it becomes race day at the 500.
It doesn't. I mean,
it is half of that field can easily win this race, man. We've seen it from an Alexander Rossi massive fuel save to a dominant Newgarden to, just finesse of Scott Dixon back in 2008, I think.
Yep.
So this is not this is not a Palou show. I mean, no. I don't think.
I mean, you never know, right? Like they talk about it all the time, and I agree. Like Indianapolis Motor Speedway, she is a finicky woman, and she picks her winner, and she'll, the track will have something to say on that day, and we'll figure out where they want it to go. Will it be Joseph for a third time, or Palou? Will he cement his dominance in the series right now, or could it be a VK that is on a hot streak and decides to shock anybody? I mean,
yep,
it's possible. So
between now and the next pod, there will be a couple opportunities if those and the listeners are interested in getting over to IMS. What's going on this week, Brian, over at IMS?
Practice opens on Tuesday, so they'll spend today and tomorrow getting the track kind of reconfigured and get it ready and get all the, and then they'll open the track for practice Tuesday and Wednesday, or actually every day this week. So Tuesday through Friday, with Friday being Fast Friday, when they add the boost for qualifying. But those tickets are pretty reasonable, very reasonable actually. I think about $20 is what it's typically been. You can get in there and sit pretty much wherever you want, and watch cars go around at high speeds. So
you recommend buying in advance? You can buy on your phone, I assume, and get like a QR code type.
Yeah, ticket. I used to buy them in advance, but now it's more of when you can buy them on your phone. I do it on as I'm walking up there, or you can actually buy them right at the gate. But yeah, you buy them on your phone, and I don't like to buy them ahead of time now because of weather, right? Like, I don't want to until I know for sure everything's going to be clear. And there's some rain in the forecast on a couple of days this week, so I'd keep an eye on that. But overall, I'm hoping they get at least 2 or 3 really good days of practice in before qualifications next weekend.
All right. Thank you for joining us for episode 19 of Checkered Shorts. We will be back with another episode this week. It won't be pre-race yet, but it's going to be a build-up pre-Indy 500 episode, which feels a lot like a pre-race every time because there's nothing nothing between us now and that hallowed day, but a little bit of time. So
it's
500 is exciting.
And it's a next podcast we can talk about Red Rival, right? Because I want my time in the sun after this again. We'll leave that till the next episode.
All right, thank you.
Just got thrown out. Yep. Matherin just got thrown out. So
go Pacers.
Anyway, go Pacers. I'm going to watch it. Woo woo.